California. Dreaming. Albert, you've heard of this particular cryptid, dare I say? You've seen them. Lizard people.
Lizard people? You're talking about the Anunnaki? Like the conspiracy theorists that say, like, Hillary Clinton's a lizard?
Yeah, I'll get into that.
Sick.
I'm talking about the people he saw in desert California.
Oh, those kind of lizard people. Those are just, like, generic desert
Yeah,
people.
I know. It was a joke. Because you'd always call them lizard people.
Yeah. It's a weird place, man.
Yeah, Los Angeles has quite the lore and history behind lizard people.
Really?
Yes. They're reported to be human, sort of. There was a civilization dating back 5,000 years.
Yes.
Native to Los Angeles.
Nice.
Yeah.
The Argonians? From Skyrim?
Maybe.
Dude,
Maybe,
they better
dude.
be.
And they were supposedly way more advanced than the average human. Rumors were that they had reptilian DNA, but most believe they were just humans who worshipped lizards and were advanced technologically and everything. So in 1930s, were some of the first rumored, and they were rumored to dwell in sophisticated tunnel systems. Specifically, the one I found was under the now lost Fort Moore Hill, which was leveled for downtown LA Civic Center. A mining engineer, G. Warren Schufelt, claimed that an X-ray machine that he invented
Oh, nice.
picked up evidence of gold tablets.
All right, hold on. Let me just make sure I'm understanding the story. So, some guy invented an X-ray machine
Yes. In the 1930s.
And used that to find gold tablets.
Under this Fort Moore Hill, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Fort Moore Hill, and that's just like a place in Los Angeles.
Well, not anymore. It was leveled out for downtown LA Civic Center.
Oh, okay.
Yes, this is in the 1930s.
This is giving me Joseph Smith vibes.
Yeah,
but
it gave me
right.
Joseph Smith vibes.
Continue.
But most people, after leveling out the hill, certified it as a hoax. Of course, like this dude, they didn't find any treasure. But they did find a bunch of tunnels 100 feet below. Like, advanced tunnel system that they believe these reptilian people lived in.
Nice.
Yes. I found a newspaper article from the Los Angeles Times.
Right on.
Yeah. January 29th, 1934. It's a pretty cool newspaper. The front center is a piece of art about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, which is just fascinating. That's right here. And then underneath that is the start of the Lizard People's Catacomb City Hunted. Engineer sinks shaft under Fort Moore Hill to find maze of tunnels and priceless treasures of legendary inhabitants.
Wait, is that the LA Times article?
Yeah.
What year is that from? That looks old.
1934.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I found this PDF of it. And then, it's so funny because the article just goes on and on. Now, this article is all about this engineer who supposedly found treasure and stuff. But they did find the tunnels, and they believed that there were lizard people that lived in it. And I'm going to read from the article. Sorry. Incalculable treasure and imperishable records of a race of humans further advanced intellectually and scientifically than even the highest type of present-day peoples. So this is 1934. So they found stuff that seemed more advanced than what they had today.
That's pretty cool.
Yes. And I couldn't find if this whole article was part of the hoax. I'm assuming it was. But there was another, and I'm reading from the article again. Remember, this is 1934. The network of tunnels formed what Indians call the Lost Lizard City, according to Schufelt and the Legend, which is the engineer.
Yeah.
But also Native Americans have they had some lore behind the Lost Lizard City. And then the article gets very vague, but it and repetitive. But it goes on to talk, did strange people live under the site of Los Angeles 5,000 years ago? And most of it was just based on these tunnels. They seemed advanced. They were 100 feet below. And they looked like they had been lived in. It's almost like a labyrinth, they said, of caverns. And now, while this may have been a well-believed hoax at the time, Southern California has quite a few legends and lore of lizard people, as do other places around the world. I mean, lizard people, reptilian people, it's all gone into, now, today, conspiracy theories, which you briefly were mentioning earlier. Have you ever seen those videos where they have a clip of, like, some celebrity or politician, and their eyes are, like, they zoom in on the eyes and they're almost glitching to a more reptilian eye, which is probably just video editing, unless you want to believe in reptilian people. But a lot of the things you'll see on lizard people today, they're said to be more of an alien species that can shapeshift into humans. A lot of conspiracy theorists claim that these shape-shifting reptilian aliens control the Earth by taking on human forms and gaining political power to manipulate human society.
Yes.
So, along with celebrity conspiracies, on multiple occasions, it's been stated world leaders are possessed by these reptilians. They're also referred to as reptiloids, draconians, and many other names in mythology and lore and cryptids. They've inspired lots of comic books, movies, and general books. Lots of science fiction has gone behind these reptilian people. But California, LA specifically, there's like, it's like, I had to scroll so far because this LA catacomb thing was their biggest story. But Joshua Tree has some, and I just thought it's so funny that, like, you know, you still see those conspiracies of the reptilians and
of politicians being lizard people. Yeah. I think those are so funny.
Wait, is that why Trump's skin is so orange?
Yeah. It's so funny.
But, yeah, I kind of kept it brief just because, you know, there's so much, and, like, there's statements that it was humans that started out just worshipping lizards and over time became more lizard-like. But then there's the vice versa of these lizard-like aliens that became more humanoid over time.
I think it's Sumerian mythology.
Yep.
Talks about the Anunnaki.
Yeah.
And apparently, I'm not super well read on it, but from my understanding, it's the Anunnaki they were like the intelligent race before humans, and they were lizards. So, like, I think that's just kind of a funny thing. Like, we know dinosaurs were around, and it's like, well, what if some of them were, like, super advanced and, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be so weird.
There's a whole Futurama episode on advanced dinosaurs.
Well, no, that's Rick and Morty. Yeah, it's Rick and Morty. That's like, no, the dinosaurs did reach, like, high society, but it was so long ago, there's nothing left. That's a wild thought of, like, other animals reaching our level of civilization.
What if it was just caveman bestiality?
Maybe.
And then they had offspring. That was,
dude, that'd be wild.
Lizard people, like that Alaska story where that woman had a relationship with the dog and created these.
Yeah, that's I think they're called.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool one. So mine, you mentioned Joshua Tree. So I used to be stationed in 29 Palms, so I lived out in the Mojave Desert for a couple of years. And one of the biggest urban legends I heard out there was this one called the Yucca Man. So, of course, that's the one I'm going to go with. So, I know we try to like stay away from Bigfoot, but that's it. Really, what the Yucca Man is. It's a desert adapted Bigfoot,
Oh.
and there have been sightings, particularly on military bases, both on 29 and Edwards Air Force Base. There's been like dozens of sightings since like the 1970s. And what's crazy about it is unlike most Bigfoot encounters where like they see Bigfoot and he runs away, this one is violent. Like these are like they find Marines alone, fucked up in the desert, and then they're like, yeah, a giant hairy beast came out and fucked me up. And yeah, so the sighting started in the 70s, and the most recent one was in 2009. And the story is all the same. It's because when you go out and you do like these 29 Palms, a big desert, like remote desert base. It's like 990 square miles. Like it's huge. And, you know, what you do is the Marines, we go out in the middle of the desert and we do like live fire training and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. But when you're out there, there's no civilization for a long, long way. And sometimes, and all the stories are the same. It's, you know, a Marine gets posted out to stand watch somewhere, like in a remote area, like a mile down the road or something, and he's by himself. And then gets like attacked by this beast. And, you know, that's basically the gist of most of the stories. The ones on Edward Air Force Base, they actually have footage of like this thing lurking around. And the reason they're freaking out about it is because it was to the entrance of like some underground tunnels they have there. And what they use those tunnels for, I don't know. But the Air Force Base has like admitted that these tunnels exist, and we have this thing that like lurks around the entrance of it. And it's, yeah.
Give me goosebumps.
Very creepy. But yeah, there's a lot of like military officers and stuff that have like come forward recently, been like, yeah, we saw that. Like that thing was there. And Edwards is about 100 miles from 29. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's the same area of like the Mojave Desert that this thing's lurking around. And then a lot of the native tribes there and stuff too have like, they have, you know, Sasquatch legends and stuff like that they talk about too.
Yeah.
But
that's why people go missing in Joshua Tree.
Yeah. You know, living there, that was one of the strangest places I had ever lived. Yeah. It was very interesting, but I saw some wild shit out there. Like, there's a lot of creepy stuff that happens in Joshua Tree. A lot of, like, unexplained things that I saw. Mm-hmm. And I actually wanted to go into that. So, in, like, one thing that happened to me, it was in April of 2017. Mm-hmm. We were out, a whole battalion was out doing, like, this live fire exercise on, like, this big shooting range. You know, it's miles and miles from civilization. But we're out in the desert, like, you can see 10 miles, like, you know, you can see everything out there. And this is just after sundown. It had just gotten dark, and we're all, like, setting up our bivouacs for the night. Like, we're gonna, you know, sleep and stuff. And to the south, we saw these orange, like, orbs floating around in the sky. We all started, like, joking around, like, aha, they're UFOs.
Aliens.
But then when we kept watching them, and the 3 orbs multiplied into about 10. And they just lingered in this one spot about 10 miles away. And they were just, like, hovering around and just, you know, not acting like anything we'd ever seen before. So now we're all like, dude, what is that? Now, we're out, when you go out on these training ops, you don't have a phone, and you go out for weeks at a time. So it's like, not like we can report or hear anything about it. Like, we just all saw it, and we're like, well, that's creepy. I wonder what that is. But then, when we came out of the field, you know, it was about 10 days later, we came out of the field, there was a newspaper article from a town in Arizona that was about 100 miles east of where we were at, and they reported the same sighting of 2 orange orbs about 100 miles east, about 40 minutes before we had saw what we saw. And they reported it as a UFO sighting. So we were all like, guys, that was actually a UFO sighting. What was that?
Yeah.
So I was really, before we were on here, I was trying to find that article that I had originally found. Because the dates lined up, the day lined up that they saw it. And I was like, yeah, we saw that night, 100 miles west. But to my surprise, I looked it up. I couldn't find the article, but I found more recent articles from 29 Palms seeing the same thing. Like in 2021, there was another article of people reporting the same thing in 2021 that they saw, like this group of orange orbs like hovering around the base.
Now, not to discredit that, but drone shows are becoming a popular thing.
True, I've considered that, but this was like so remote, like I don't.
And the fact that it traveled or seems to have traveled
hundreds of miles. Yeah. Like drone shows won't travel hundreds of miles.
No.
People have also said, "Oh, it's weather balloons," but I don't see why weather balloons would like illuminate and then go dark again and disappear. Because it didn't like fly away or go out of sight. They hovered there and then they just disappeared.
Yeah, it's fucking aliens, dude.
It's something weird. Like, yeah, I have no idea what it is. And to this day, I always think of that. I'm like, dude, that was a UFO sighting. That was cool.
That is cool.
You know, and what was also cool, too, is it wasn't just like one or two of us. There was hundreds of people that saw that. Like, there was a giant element of us out there training, and we're all just sitting there like, what the hell is that?
Well, and then just to go back to this, like the Yucca Man or, UFO stuff, Joshua Tree National Park gets a lot of missing people, right?
Yeah. I have another weird story about that, too. There was one day when I was in 29, it was like a Saturday. My friends weren't around. I had nothing to do. I'm by myself. So I was like, Joshua Tree National Park has a couple of oases. So I was like, I'm going to go check out some of these oases. You can drive to them, like their little park areas. I'm like, I'm going to go check this out. I bet it'll be kind of cool. So I drove to one. So there was a bunch of people there. There's probably 100 people there. So, I get out. It's not a long trail. It's like a quarter-mile trail. You walk through the oasis. Well, I walked up, and then, like, there was a little rock kind of, like, off the trail, and I went up, looked around. I spent probably, like, 20 minutes there. I took some pictures. I thought it was cool. And then on my way out, I got approached by a, like, park ranger. And he, like, pulled me aside, and he was like, hey, with that area you were standing up in, looking around, there was reports of somebody who went up there and went missing about a week ago. You see anything weird when you were up there? And I was like, no, I didn't see anything. And then he was being kind of like very hostile toward me too. So I was kind of like nervous. I was like, why am I getting questioned? There's hundreds of people here. Yeah. And it's not like I was like way off the trail. Like you could see where I was standing from the trail. And not only that, I wasn't even the only person up there. Like, there's other people that came up there with me after. Like, I was just like, why am I getting questions about this? This is weird.
Because you look sus.
That's what I was thinking, too. I was like, yeah, maybe it was weird that I was, like, alone, kind of just lurking around there.
Because, like, criminals, like, some go back to the site.
Yeah, maybe. So maybe I just looked sus. But, oh, my God, so many people go missing in Joshua Tree. And, I mean, like a lot of national parks, when you drive out there, you lose cell service. Mm-hmm. So if you break down out there and you're not prepared, like, your only hope is that someone comes along. Like, you can't walk. Yeah. Like, you walk, it's 115 degrees. You're going to die. Yeah. Like, it's crazy stuff. But, yeah, living out there,
I saw... want to stay where the people are.
Yeah. Living out there, I saw some of the strangest stuff. Up the road, there was a place called Amboy.
Yes.
And and they literally told us on the base, like, you drive through this town called Amboy on the way to Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. And they told us, like, if you're driving there, it's an abandoned town. And they tell you, do not stop there. Because it's full of, like, transient people and, like, cult worshippers and, like, gangs. Yeah. It's wild that place exists in the United States. Yeah. It is literally like a Wild West town. Lawless land. It is creepy as hell. Like, you drive through it, and there's, like, a gas station and a diner and houses. And they're all abandoned. It's crazy.
Yeah, I remember you told Catherine and I not to stop there.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. Because you don't, there's nothing. You drive through Amboy, and then the next place you hit is Las Vegas, and you're literally just driving through the desert for 3 hours. Yeah. It's creepy place. So much, like, weird activity there. But
it's crazy. Did you have any friends who have, like, weird, like, stories like that? None off the top of your head.
Not off the top of my head. As far as the Yucca Man goes, I remember there was guys in my unit that had claimed that they had seen it. There's this place called Morgan's Well. It was like a training range, but they had claimed like that's where a lot of the sightings happened, was out there. And we stayed there one night, and I didn't see anything weird, but yeah, wild stuff.
Wild too that it's like in recent dates that like people have cited it.
Now, I saw some of the pictures of like the Sasquatches, and one of the thoughts that I kind of had, there's a lot of people out there training. If you're a sniper team and you got like the ghillie suit on and you make your ghillie to look like deserty and tan, if you don't know that sniper team's out there and you're just a dude like stand and watch by yourself, and these guys like lurk by you or something from a distance, I could see them being like, yo, what the fuck is that? Just a guy in a ghillie suit. But I don't know. Maybe not.
Maybe they wouldn't be like beating up stranded Marines.
Yeah, they wouldn't. Yeah, that the main story of the guy getting like really beat up bad, the reason that one got because like he had to go to the hospital. So then they had to launch an investigation and be like, what was this? And he was like, yeah, a giant man came out of the woods, or came out of the darkness and beat me up.
Yeah, that's wild.
And it's like, it's on a base too, so it's like...
Yeah, I didn't even get to like Western California. I was just mostly in that.
Oh yeah. Now, all over this base too, there's like... They have like little makeshift training towns. They make like little like towns with like buildings and stuff to like mimic urban areas that we can train in. And we were out training once, and I was talking to some guys, and they were telling me that the year before they had went to this one town, and some of those transient people it was close to Amboy, and some of those transient people from Amboy had wandered onto the base and taken up inhabitants in this town. So they got there to train, and it was just full of like drug addict bums, and they were like, what the hell? And they were like just going buck wild out there. But
what a life that must be.
Oh my god, crazy. But yeah, when we were doing California, I was like, living there for a few years, I was like, I got some weird stories, some weird stuff that happened out there. But about the UFO, back to the UFO sighting though. One thing that was also really, really strange about it is about 5 minutes before we saw it, I saw a comet go over. A comet had shot over the sky, and it was green. It was a green comet, and it was so bright that I thought somebody turned floodlights on.
Oh.
Like, I looked around to see, like, because we had trucks and all kinds of stuff out there. I thought somebody had set up, like, lights or something. And I saw that, and then I turned to the guy with me, and I was like, oh, what was that? And he goes, yeah, this is a comet that just flew over us. I was like, holy crap, that's the brightest comet I've ever seen. Like, I've seen shooting stars. But, dang.
With a big gun.
Yeah. Shoot guns. Like, I've seen comets and stuff before and shooting stars, but nothing that, like, illuminates the night to make it seem like somebody turned a floodlight on.
Yeah.
So that was odd to me that we saw that immediately after the comet. But, yeah, I mean, that's something that I'm going to live with the rest of my life, and I'll never have answers to.
Yeah,
It's a wild experience. But...
She on highlight?
He doesn't like the guns. No. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, California's wild.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Yeah, that's all I had too.
It's cool that you had stories to go to. It's one place I have no desire to ever live. California.
I had fun living there. It was...
Yeah, but I feel like it's different when you're in the military versus, like, if you were going to raise a family.
Yeah, but I do see the attraction of it.
Yeah.
There was something very pleasing about the desert, too. Like, it had its benefits. It wasn't, like, a terrible place. Like, I don't know. I could see the attraction to it.
Yeah.
But... I don't know. Some people will disagree, I'm sure. Be like, no, that place is terrible. Yeah. Never going back there.